What up, everybody? Welcome back to the Garden State Hip Hop Hour. It's your boy Rich, and today I'm here with a very special guest. His name is Rodney, the originator of the Garden State Hip Hop.
Rich, what's going on?
What's going on? I appreciate you coming on to the show.
Thank you for having me, man. I really appreciated it.
So a little, thank you. So a little backstory to how I found Rodney is, so I started the Garden State Hip Hop Hour earlier this year, around like January, and I'm all over Instagram, like, yo, I got the greatest name ever. Like, why no one ever think about this? And then I saw Kosher Dills. He hit me up. He's like, oh, I was at Coachella performing in a Garden State Hip Hop shirt. And I was like, what do you mean a Garden State Hip Hop shirt? I haven't made no Garden State Hip Hop shirts. And then he gave me your page, and I came across you, and I learned Rodney started Garden State Hip Hop Hour with everything, businesses, events. So how did you start the Garden State Hip Hop?
Well, I mean, it was just an idea that came to my mind because this is in 2009, so I was going into my sophomore year of college, and I wanted to get different opportunities in the music business, and when I would apply for internships or whatever thing that presented itself my way, I was rejected because I had no experience. So '09, I mean, when you think about hip-hop then, it's the height of the hip-hop blogosphere, so you got like Nah Right, Two Dope Boys, Ill Roots, Kevin Nottingham, the list goes on and on. All these publications are covering all these brilliant hip-hop artists, but none of them are covering the artists that I know from my city and throughout my state. So I figured I can create a platform to give those artists the exposure they needed while creating opportunities and kind of like my own lane within the music industry. So that was pretty much the premise. I tell everybody we came up with the idea in '09. The website launched in January 2010. And, 10 years, a lot has happened. You know, it's been a catalyst for everything that I've managed to create and any opportunity I've had in the music industry. So it's like my baby, man.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah.
And what town were you from? You said.
So I grew up in Ocean Township down the Jersey Shore. Landmark town is Asbury Park, town over. I lived in Asbury until 1998, and then, lived out the rest of my teenage years and whatnot in Ocean Township, the town over.
Okay, and I see you do a lot of events. So is that why you chose Asbury? I see on your page a lot of Asbury Park and part of Asbury Park.
Yeah, I mean, Asbury Park, I grew up in Ocean. If you want to say my rep is in Ocean, but my heart is in Asbury Park. It's where I'm from. It's where my family's from. Summer camp, the whole nine. And Asbury Park is a music town. When you think of Bruce Springsteen, you think of Bon Jovi. Asbury is kind of like our little Nashville or our little South Street in Philadelphia, where it's like the creative hub at the Jersey Shore. So, the issue with that is it's been known as kind of like a rock and roll community. And for years, they've been very resistant towards hip hop or any type of urban events or activities. And when I started Garden State Hip Hop, I would try to book concerts or host a site for different events, and I would always be turned away and told no because they didn't want to work with hip-hop artists or people that supported hip-hop culture.
So what gave you like the willpower to keep pushing and pushing?
That's a good question, man. I guess just being an advocate for the arts, loving what I do, just being extremely passionate about everything and just always trying to push the culture forward. Standing up for what I believe in and just really trying to create opportunities for people.
And what was the reception from like the artists, the local artists? Like, did you have a lot of people behind you when you first started it, or did it take time and then they're like, oh, I see what you're doing?
Yeah, man, it was always love. Funny enough, for the longest time, people didn't know that I was the person that created it, and then I kind of wanted to be more like laid back about it. Like nobody really knows what SK looks like. Mm-hmm. Like I saw SK at BB King's and my man pointed him out to me in 2010, 2011. Like, yo, that's the founder of Not Right. Nobody really saw SK's face. So I kind of wanted to have like that same vibe for myself. But, a lot of my friends and like family, like, nah, man, you got to put yourself out there. You got to let people know that it's you. So I kind of, promote the brand and then, kind of like the puffy angle.
Behind the scene at first.
Yeah. But, I mean, everybody was very receptive. Everybody knew how serious I took everything, how much I believed in it. And just, when you have kind of like what you're doing, anything new and creative, you're just hyped and charged on it. Yeah. So I was just blogging like a madman. And this is when I really didn't know, what the Newark scene was like, or what cats was doing in Jersey City or Hoboken or Trenton. So I was just on the internet heavy, just Googling stuff on Twitter, on Facebook, YouTube, and New Jersey rapper, yada yada, just trying to find as much content as I can, and it just snowballed into this big statewide thing,
Who were some like your favorite artists that you were working with at the time?
Well, I mean, I got to start with artists down by my area, so I would say my boy Dana Beautiful Monster. He was in the 2011 Cypher. When I first met him, so he owns a music publishing company called the ACRC. At the time I met him, he had a storefront in Long Branch, New Jersey, which is a few towns over from where I grew up at. So he had, the storefront, they printed and sold merch, recording studio, and it was just kind of like a networking hub for rappers and producers around the way. So I got hooked up with him. From there, a kid I went to high school with named Mr. Encore, rapper, producer. My man Prof, he goes by Love Movie 1080p now. My man A. Lewins, and then, next thing you know, my boy Corey, who owned a Connect spot in Newark, New Jersey, put me on to artists like Maroof, Mo Shadi, NJ Rebels, the list goes on and on. So it was just kind of like word of mouth and just networking and just getting acquainted with people.
That's dope. So like, how were you coming up with these ideas to do the Cypher, to throw these events, and like you got big backdrops, so like you took it and like you really ran with it?
Yeah, I mean, with the Cypher, BET Cypher, of course, and then the Garden State Hip Hop Cypher I came across, I didn't think it was well produced, and one of my closest friends, a very talented guy by the name of Jonathan Edwards, brilliant videographer, photographer, I presented the idea to him. He's actually the person that created the Garden State Hip Hop banner. So he was kind of like my right-hand man, go-to guy for any type of visual idea or creative idea I had. He would bring that, bring that to life for me. He did the intro video that I did. I shot it in Times Square, New York, promoting New Jersey brand. But anyway, he shot that video, you know what I'm saying? So he was kind of like my right-hand man. And when I decided to do the Cypher, I needed a location. I got hooked up with the Turntablism show, DJ Brown 13 and the rest of those guys. We went up there, my boy Johnny E, his man Danny Zay. I think we did 16 artists, split it up into 3 or 4 rounds. And, it's kind of took on a life of its own, where we went on and did it in 2012 and 2013. I wanted to do it in 2014 in Asbury, but I had some things fall through that we can probably dig into, as the
I was going to ask you what happened, because you kind of like, it seems like it kind of stopped and it slowed down, but your personal brand, it seemed like you started doing more of. So when did you make the switch from like the focus on Garden State to focus on like, more Rodney and what you're doing?
I wouldn't say the focus ever really shifted from Garden State Hip Hop, because even though I wasn't updating the publication like every day, I still was trying to help artists behind the scenes create opportunities, whether it was hooking them up with a producer or videographer, or, I met this writer at this event, let me connect you with them. So I was very much still Garden State Hip Hop.
But more
I
like
may have not been on it. Yeah, well, just not blogging as much. You know what I'm saying? And not blogging is just you get to a point, and I talk to a lot of bloggers and journalists about it, when you're writing about people's music, they don't see what you're putting into it. Like with your show, they don't see what you're putting into this. They just see the end result. So when you're listening to an artist's track 3 or 4 times so you can have something really thoughtful to write about it, and then you post that story, and that artist doesn't even have the common courtesy to repost it or share it with his fan base, that gets exhausting after a while. Or you write an album review.
Yeah.
And the list goes on and on. When you're really putting your time and energy, you could be doing other things. I'm in my early 20s. I got a girlfriend, turning 21. You want to live, you want to enjoy life. I'm sitting in the house blogging, and for a while, you feel like, what am I doing all this for? You know what I'm saying? I still don't have a job in the music business. At the time, I didn't land my first internship. It's like, man, I love what I'm doing. I love hip hop. I'm making an impact. I'm making my contributions to the culture, but it's like, I got to make some time for me too. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
So when I, when I talk about me falling off with the site, that's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Some of it was frustration, and some of it was just, man, I just want to live. I just want to enjoy myself,
Yeah. So, and then So what like do you feel about like now the blog world? It's a lot different, I'm assuming, than when you first started in the Garden State Hip Hop, right? Like it's not as much
Yeah, for
website
sure.
based.
I mean, as a publicist, hip hop journalism, there are some excellent writers out there. I would say there is probably about 5 or 6 publications that I really believe are doing like strong editorial work and breaking artists and really telling those stories the right way. But it's kind of like, man, it needs some work. I'm not gonna get on here and just talk crazy, but it needs some improvement. We need more thoughtful bloggers, more thoughtful journalists, as opposed to taking a PR rep's press release and that being copy and pasted into a body of a blog post or a feature on a publication. No, you need to write your thoughts and how you feel about this track or this music video. So I would like to see more of that.
And what like differentiated I can't say the word, but differentiated you from other blogs besides the part obviously just focused on Jersey? Did you have like you felt you had a certain style, or did you try to have certain angles you try to hit?
That's a really good question. I don't know. I try to give everybody a platform. Even if I didn't like the music, I would try to find something positive to say about it. Yeah. Unless it was just like, oh man, I don't even know if this person should be doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. So I guess for me, just really trying to find something I like about it. If I'm not feeling the lyrics, the flow, the cadence, but the beat is hard. You know what I'm saying? Or, he has such and such featured on it. Yeah, I'm going to look him out. That's what's up. That's a good look. So just really being, having an open door policy, I guess.
So do you feel like being a blogger and being part of the hip hop media world affected the way you listen to music even?
That's a good question, bro.
Because you're so used to writing reviews and stuff, so it's like your ears.
Yeah, and me, for the longest, I was kind of like a purist. If it wasn't like Mos Def or like Dead Prez or De La, I'm like, this isn't real hip hop. And then I got over myself, and even like a girl I was dating was like please, like just chill on all of that. I'm like, yeah, you right. So in that sense, yeah, being just like a true hip hop fan, and really knowing the culture is just like, I was hard on a lot of artists.
And a pioneer for everything you did with the platforms and stuff. I saw a photo. It looked like you had an event in Asbury. It sold out, and you wrote something like, "Oh, cops are trying to stop this from happening again."
Yeah, that was the Joe College show. So he and I and his team partnered up and made that happen. He's an artist that you should have on this show. He's probably one of the biggest artists in the area and has some real potential. So he and I connected on that for his album release show. Packed house, man. It was their first sold-out hip-hop show, so that felt very good.
What venue was that again?
House of Independence in Asbury Park. And that's one of the newer venues, and I mean, to do something like that, it just felt good, man. It was amazing. Just knowing everything that I've gone through since creating Garden State Hip-Hop and trying to create different opportunities for myself and the artists I'm associated with, that was just like, yeah, man, that was like one of those special moments for sure.
So why do you feel like there was like that resistance? Do you think it's just anti-hip-hop or?
Just musical segregation, prejudice. Like when Billboard magazine reached out to me, I kept it a stack with them. Asbury Park is a town that was built for white tourists. You know what I'm saying? And then it's a rock and roll, Bruce Springsteen. That's the vibe. That's the energy. But, half of the city is African-American, and now the city's being gentrified. So it's kind of like one of those Brooklyn deals going on. And it's just like majority of your city is this demo, but there's nothing really for them to do. And then it's like you have other people not from the community that are coming in, and they're being granted opportunities and having access, where you have people with resumes like a DJ Ream or DJ Ronnie Ray's, powerhouse DJs, works with Drewski all the time, grew up in the area, but can't spend a Friday night at the local bar or club in his hometown, or can't get a date at one of the venues. That doesn't make sense. Those are the type of things that I was fighting for.
And the article of Billboard, do you think that helped your case? Did it put more eyes on it, or did it still just kind of like remain the same?
I think it kind of remained the same. Even when we made the fuss about the Asbury Park Music Awards not having a rap or hip hop column, they put together some weak, like urban column with like an alternative funk band and some other artists just to make us happy. But, this year they didn't even have an Asbury Park Music Awards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like we make fusses, we stand up, our voices are heard. But, it's still an uphill battle.
That's what I was going to say again. Like, I'm sure that had a wear on you, like, as you're trying to push this forward.
Yeah, man. I mean, I can tell you I kind of hit like a crossroads in 2015 where I'm just like, do I really want to pursue a career in music? Because I had just hit a wall where I was kind of like exhausted with blogging. I kind of hit like a, like a creative block where I didn't feel like I had something fresh and new to bring to the table in terms of like original content. And then, I had a really good job. I worked in sales at the time. 2015, I was with Bank of America, so I was making decent money. I was dating somebody that I thought I was going to be with. So I'm like, I can do the hip-hop thing as a hobby and just really focus on my real life and just really set myself up.
And what was the plan for Garden State Hip Hop past the blog and past these events, or were just like more of like events, kind of like where you were going with it, or did you have like a bigger?
In terms of like a business thing,
yeah,
I
business
mean,
or a goal.
for me, I didn't even, to be honest with you, I didn't take myself that serious.
Oh, okay.
When I was 19, 20, 21 years old.
So you were
I
just
was
kind of like running with it.
I just loved hip hop, and wanted to write about dope artists and put on dope events and meet people and hopefully land a job, at Rock Nation or Def Jam. You know what I'm saying? That was kind of like the goal, but it really didn't become real as a business until, to be honest with you, like 2016, 2017.
What happened?
Where, I'm selling merch. I'm making some decent money off the event. Well, 2017, I had, one of my biggest event at that time where I made a decent chunk of change, and then I went on to produce some other events where I made like some decent money. So I'm just like, okay, I have the idea. I know what direction I want to go in. I know what I really enjoy. I don't really enjoy, not that I don't enjoy blogging as much, but blogging doesn't have the same impact it once did, but I love organizing these events. Like, I love planning the cypher. I love that whole process. I love working with Joe College on that show. I love planning the New Jersey live shows. I love doing that. The whole process of booking the artists, dealing with the venues, creating a proposal, just the whole, everything that goes into planning an event. I love that. And that's when I decided to really put the LLC on lock. And I'm happy I did that because you would have had it.
Yeah, I definitely looked it up. That's how I was like, okay, this guy's really serious. I was like, oh, wow, he has it.
Yeah, because it's just like, even when, for New Jersey Live 3, when I got the Ciroc sponsorship, up until that point, I didn't feel comfortable presenting myself to a company of that stature because I felt like I wasn't there yet. Yeah, I did my thing with the blog. Yeah, I got decent views, but I wasn't getting no Rap Radar numbers, to keep it a buck. It was what it was, and it is what it is to a lot of people, that support it, like people like yourself and Coach and everybody else that's a part of my network. But I didn't feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying?
But you didn't feel like you weren't hitting the numbers because your market was obviously just smaller. Rap Radar's, national. It's all over, and you were kind of like centric focus.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, that would be it. And then just, just the timing of everything. I was in school. I was working. There was so many things going on. And then I'm in my 20s. Like, I turned 30 in July over the summer. It's just all of that. You want to hang out, you want to chill, you want to do things, so you're not always on it. Just keeping it real.
You got life
like,
going on.
You have something, and like, even some of my friends to this day, they're like, Rob, man, like, yo, that could have been like, Garden State Hip Hop should be like World Star, what World Star is now. And they're right. And I don't have anything for them. All I can say is, I do the best that I can, and I'm trying to make up for it. You know what I'm saying?
But you did your thing. You gave a lot of artists like platforms and things like this. And
like I tell everybody, should it be bigger than what it was? Absolutely. But I mean, take into account where I was when I created that. I was a kid, bro.
And you were pretty much by yourself doing it.
Yeah. I had my cousin, and it was cool. I brought my cousin Shy on. Shout out to him. He's living overseas now. He's got a family out in the Middle East. Well, he may be in France now, but anyway, shout out to him. He was a journalism major at Monmouth University. He got his degree from there as well. So what he did as a side hustle was he would write bios for local hip hop artists. So when you ask me, I met Dane, but also I met artists within his network. So I was able to write about their music.
Yeah,
so I had him kind of like with you and your boy, some creative differences. He fell back, and you know, it was all on me. You know,
so did all that. So let's talk about what you're doing now, because I see you do a lot now. So did all that lead up to what you're doing now? You work. I seen you at Hot 97. I seen you with the Kevin Durant. I saw you taking pictures before Kevin Durant took a picture. Like
word.
Like I see you doing a lot of different things. Obviously you worked with Knicks legend Earl Monroe.
Yeah. So what's this? 2013, I got my first actual internship in the music business. I worked for Sue Marcus at Stunt Company PR in Brooklyn, New York. I'm not sure if she was a director of publicity or just on the PR team, but she was at Island Def Jam with Leo and all of them. I spent 6 months with her in Brooklyn, and it wasn't a hip hop firm. It was mostly rock, alternative, you know, some heavier stuff. We had like a nerd hip hop artist. His name was MC Lars. I think him and Coach are real tight because they were chopping it up at Vans Warped Tour when Coach brought me out there. But anyway, I spent 6 months with her at her firm. She didn't offer me a job, even though I was a decent intern. So I told myself that I didn't want to apply for any more internships. You know, I'm solely focused on, you know, trying to get a job. So that was kind of slow. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'll get another internship. I eventually get picked up, get a summer internship offer at Rock Ridge Music, Nashville-based country, rock, Americana, and bluegrass label and management company. Main office in Nashville, and they had another office in downtown Newark. So I was there 3 days a week throughout the summer. Spent 3 months with them. There I worked for Cynthia Cochran, Universal Music Group. Brought us Erykah Badu, brought us Nelly, worked on a Country Grammar album, and one of the Hot Boys albums.
Wait, so you worked on the Country Grammar?
No, those were her clients at
okay.
Universal. Oh, no.
Oh, okay. I was like, okay,
I don't know. I wish. So, yeah, spent some time there. And then during my time there, it's interesting. So I'm getting ready to leave one day, and my direct report says to me, you know, that they're looking to add somebody to the team, and they asked about the interns, and my direct report is like, you know, I told them about you, you know, you're very responsible, you can handle the task, so on and so forth. So I'm like, yo, I got it. Like, I'm about to get my first job in the music business. So I go home, I'm telling my family, my friends, I'm like, yo, I think this is it. Like, I think I landed my first gig, summer 2014. I go in that Monday, I'm like, you know, so what's up? Oh yeah, they decided to go with somebody else. So I'm like, oh man, like, damn. So that kind of put me in a funk, you know what I'm saying? I was applying for jobs. Like I said, I was working in sales. So 2014, I'm with TD Bank at this point before I go over to Bank of America. You know, doing well, still applying for jobs here and there, but not really on it.
Yeah.
I was kind of like a little discouraged. So 2015, I go to Bank of America. Just get back on it, get re-engaged. Some of my homies, you know, they got pretty solid jobs in New York, so they're putting me on to stuff. I start going to mixers heavy, you know, trying to network and meet people and just stay engaged within the industry, you know, because I felt myself kind of like,
yeah,
I felt this swaying. So I'm like, I got to get back on it, you know, and get inspired again. So I got back into the hustle and bustle of trying to network and meet people. My friends are like trying to help me get stuff. So... And this is how crazy life is. You know, I'm gonna tell you two things. One, what made me want to pursue a career in the music business was my high school basketball coach's wife was Kanye's attorney. And he and I were very close. So my senior year of high school, 2008, was the year graduation came out. So him and his wife took me to the concert. Backstage passes, everything is hooked up. I was formally introduced to Kanye and Pharrell Williams. And that was the moment that made me wanted to pursue a career in music, because being backstage, seeing Lupe Fiasco where you are, Chris Brown is right here, Rihanna is right there. I'm an 18-year-old kid.
You're with a bunch of legends.
Talking to Don C, not knowing that I'm talking to Don C, seeing Stephen Hill from BET. All these people are walking by me. Everybody's smiling, everybody's having a good time, but they're working. I'm like, this is it for me. I got to get in. I got to make this happen. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
So I don't think anyone could be around Kanye and not be inspired. He's just art. Like just as a pure artist, he's always coming up with
Yeah, I
different
mean,
stuff
it was kind of, that moment was kind of like a letdown. For one, I was kind of like
you were let
starstruck,
down.
but it was like, you know how they say sometimes don't meet your heroes? Because it's like, I shook his hand. I got the dopest intro, too. Like, my coach's wife is, like, this is Rodney. He's a big fan of yours. He's like, this is Rodney, one of my husband's basketball players. He's a big fan of yours. He's excited to meet you. Kanye, like, he, like, looks me up and down. He's like, okay. And just puts his hand out and shake my hand. But it's not like, yo, thanks for coming to the concert.
Yeah.
Like, how you like the album, nothing. It was just like awkward silence for like 3 minutes. It's all good though. I get to tell people I met him. Pharrell was real cool. But yeah, man, that was the experience that really did it for me. So fast forward back to 2015, my homeboy starts dating a girl, and out of all the girls he could date, he dates a girl that works at Atlantic Records.
It's like all these things are just coming together in your life.
Yeah. So, I mean, we hung, and shout out to her, we hung out a handful of times, but we really didn't know each other like that. And she wanted out of the music business, and she fought tooth and nail for me to get an interview at Atlantic to take her job.
Oh, wow.
So she was the assistant to the head of radio promotions at Atlantic Records. So she fought tooth and nail to get me up there. In hindsight, it was a courtesy interview when the guy sat down with me, but I impressed him. I impressed him to the point where it's like, yo, we just got to find this kid something to do in this building. I asked him before I left, I said, do you think I have what it takes to work in the music business? He said, yes, and I think you have a lot more to offer than being someone's assistant. And that was just like everything for me, and just, I'm like, that was like kind of like the validation I needed to know that I'm not tripping, you know, because I'm one of the few people I know, at least where I'm at, that's going for a career like this. You know what I'm saying? So I go up to Atlantic a second time, sit down with like an HR rep. He's like the head of the department, legit trying to find me a job in New York, LA, just trying to find something.
Like a spot for you.
Yeah, something, nothing comes of it. So I'm just like, damn. Then I get presented with another opportunity. My man is working at MTV in the social media department. He calls me, I'm in Walmart shopping. He's like, yo, I spoke to my boss. Rumor has it that they're trying to bring back MTV Raps, and they're trying to put a team together, and I told them about you. I'm going to give you my boss's information. You got to do the rest. I was on it. Boom. Next thing you know, I'm up at MTV. Sit down. So I'm at MTV talking about MTV Raps. I'm like, did you guys look at my resume? They're like, nah. So that spoke volumes about my boy and his reputation up there. So long story short, they didn't move forward with the MTV Raps project. So I'm just like, damn, another missed opportunity. So we're in the 2016 now. I'm sorry, am I like...
No, you're fine, I'm
good? I'm just...
Trust me, I love like hearing about people's stories and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm right here, like kind of like just seeing myself as I pursue these opportunities as well. So I love hearing it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is 2016 now. And again, just kind of like, damn, close, but didn't get it. Not quite. So, yeah, I'm just moving on. I'm doing things here and there. 2017 hits, and, just trying to keep things afloat, still staying on it, no real serious leads. I end up being let go by Bank of America because I had a rough 6 months where I wasn't hitting my sales numbers. So this is like April of 2017. So I'm like, damn, like, yo, I've worked in sales and banking for 5 years. I'm like, is this what I want to keep doing, or do I want to put everything I have into getting a job in the music business? So I'm like, yo, I'm going hard with the music. Like, I'm applying for every opportunity, qualified, not qualified. I'm just going for it. So that was kind of like a blessing in disguise because I got to focus on the website a little bit more. I did New Jersey Live 2 at the Saint. That was like the second show I got in Asbury at that time. We sold that one out, and I was aggressive with applying for jobs. So I got offered a position by a company. I don't want to shout them out. They make the offer. I'm like, all right, yes, I got it. I finally did it. They rescind the offer. So I'm like, damn. But then this other company, based in Tribeca, they post, and I'm just hitting up the head of PR on Facebook and emailing her like crazy, yo, like, can I get an interview? Can I get this opportunity? so on and so forth. So they bring me up. I get the job, man, you know, and what's that? June 2017 is when I started my career in the music business. I got my first job after starting Garden State Hip Hop in 2009, and I've just been off and rolling ever since, you know, and long journey, you know, still learning, still growing. You know, I've only been making a living in this for, you know, coming up on 3 years. So, you know, a lot of awesome opportunities. You mentioned some of the people I work with, Fresher, the Earl Monroes, you know, my current client, Cypherella. You know, I got to take her up to Sway for the first time. I got to work with Sway. You know, we worked with him twice. We did the Friday Fire Cypher, and then he invited us back for the Doomsday event. So, I mean, just so many things and accomplishing things that were my dreams and things that were important to me. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's nothing better than that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And how did it turn into this, though? Because now it's a publicist, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and you do books, or you just focus on the entire career? Because you said you brought
music. Well, the agency I work for, the second company I work for, you know, so I started with EIPR, went to Big Machine Media, another New York City-based company. So they did fashion, they did music, they did books. So it was kind of like, you know, we're going to expand your horizon a little bit. We know that you're a hip-hop guy, but try this New York Fashion Week stuff. You know, we got this girl, Earl the Pro Monroe, doing his book. We're going to assign you that. And then I worked with Salento.
So now
that was cool.
Now that you're actually in the industry, is it everything you thought it was going to be? Like, as you because you chased a dream for so long, I'm sure, like, you built up, like, this grand image. Like, does it live up to what you thought working in the industry was going to be?
I mean, it takes a lot of hard work when you see what goes into it. You know, especially when you're rolling out content, especially for, like, more notable artists. You know, not that I was always assigned to, like, the bigger project. Like, I've had big projects, but when you see what goes into, like, more notable artists, it's like, man, like, this is serious work. You know, and some of the indies and unsigned acts really need to get on their job and make sure they have all their ducks in a row, because you don't see what goes into a tour. You know, one of my first assignments at EIPR, you know, within the first 3 months of me being there, me and a colleague, we had to do the tour press for Andy Mineo, you know, who signed to Lecrae's label, you know, and I'm just like damn, like, I'm doing a tour. Next, you know, I just started my career and I'm in charge of, like, getting press opportunities for 15 to 20 different markets. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, like, so it's a lot that goes into it, you know, and it's everybody a part of it. They're really working hard. You know, you get to see everybody at the parties or sitting up in my man's office at Rock Nation. What's his name? Kodak Lens.
You said, oh, okay.
You know who I'm talking about.
You said Kodak Lens?
That's his Instagram.
Oh, wait, Kodak Lens. No.
I forget his name. It's like the gold couch
at
Rock Nation.
I'm thinking like an artist?
No, he's one of their executives.
You're not talking about Ty, right?
I forget his name. He's one of the executives at Rock Nation. But when you see, like, you know, everybody at the parties or on the red carpet, just know that they're grinding.
Yeah, he's there.
You know, it's a lot of work that goes into everything.
Do you have a favorite moment so far? I'm sure there's been so many, right?
I mean, Billboard was big, and it was just like Billboard magazine.
But that was you, though, right? That had nothing to do with you.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, that was me. So that was big. But I would probably say the first time I met Sway. You know, and Sway is, I'm sure for you and anybody else who's a part of this culture, like, Sway is like a god to us. He's interviewed everybody. I mean, he's always represented the culture to the utmost, you know, just like Chuck D, just always represented hip-hop the right way. So meeting him, man, and just being up at Sirius and sitting in the lobby and him coming out and shaking everybody's hand, and I'm sitting next to Clinton Sparks, and Clinton Sparks is just like, this is why Sway is the man, because nobody else in the business does this.
You're the second person that's told me that. I know people even that interned over there and stuff like that. He handshakes everybody. He says hello. Like,
you know, I mean, what other host of a popular show and with the resume that he has comes out and greets the guests that are coming on to his show? Yeah. Some people just send an assistant. You know, he comes out and shake your hand himself, and it just gives you, you know, a guy with his resume, with his experience and his rep, that level of humility and, like, class and grace is just like, that gave me just kind of like a foundation to always be, not that I'm not that type of person, but just like always be humble and just be real and be genuine, you know?
Yeah, and you clearly got a hunger to yourself because that persistence of that story, you're like 14, 15, 16, 17, this opportunity took away, that opportunity taken away. And so your passion for music must be that great. So where did that passion like come from? Like, was it from your parents? Was it just music you listened to growing up, or is it just you don't even know, it's just in you?
Yeah, I mean, well, I tried to be a rapper, and I realized I
Oh,
wasn't
you tried
really
to be a
good at it.
rapper.
Yeah, I've rapped. I had
So
I
we gotta
had
get a
one
freestyle?
battle. I have a lot of family in Newark and East Orange, so I spent a lot of time up there as a kid. So I had one battle, and I got one track. My name used to be the Youngster. And I was whack, you know, I was trash. So
So we gotta hear a freestyle. You got the song for us?
nah, definitely not. So no, and you know, I wasn't good at rapping, but I knew that there were other ways to contribute to the culture. You know what I'm saying? So just being an advocate for hip hop and want to push the culture forward, and having parents that had like very broad musical taste, yeah, that helps as well. And just, you know, I mean, growing up on Jay and the Rough Riders and, you know, Memphis Bleak, Trick Daddy, you know, all those guys, man, those are my guys. And just, I wanted to be on 106 in Park and all those shows, you know, so yeah, I kind of knew that's what I wanted to do when I was young, but that Kanye experience and going to that concert was the one that really did it for me.
So from the media and publicist side, what kind of advice would you give, artists coming up or trying to make it? So now that you've seen this side of it.
Yeah, I would say get familiar with your local music community, you know, especially as an unsigned artist. Go to as many shows as you can and try to perform as often as possible. And I say get involved with your local music community because when you go to a show, the people that paid those tickets or bought that T-shirt, those are the people that want to support indie artists like you so they could become your fans. Build relationships with the venue owners. So if you want to get some dates or you want to have a release party, you've already bridged that gap and established that relationship, you know, and just really track your numbers, you know, create email lists, just really be hands-on and aggressive and perform. Get your live show right. Keep all your numbers on file and present it to a booking agent and hit the road.
So does the numbers matter more than anything?
I mean, it depends. Well, another thing, set goals. Why are you doing this? You know, is it for the lifestyle? Is it for the money? Is it for girls? Why are you really doing this? I think that's very important. What are the goals? Like, what's the vision I have for myself? Like, recently I've been having a lot of conversations with artists about, you know, what makes you use DistroKid to distribute your music? Like, what's the benefit to you as the artist? Oh, because everybody else is doing it. It's like in 2010 when everybody had a Reverb Nation page. What was the real benefit? It was just everybody was using Reverb Nation. No, you need to really take your career into your own hands, educate yourself, and do research and figure out, does this service align with my goals and my vision of my career as a whole for this particular project? Really analyze that and think critically, you know, so the path can be much clearer, you know, because I see since 2009 creating a blog, I know artists that have been rapping for over 10 years and still can't build a fan base, or have really great music and had some very serious potential and just got burnt out because they weren't being strategic enough, you know, with everything that they were doing. So
okay. And what about, so now since you're more on the media side and the publicist and stuff, so what advice would you have for people in the hip hop culture or just music culture in general who are trying to come up in the media world, or PR world or publicist world?
Build relationships, real relationships, not like, you know, this person could do this for me and I'm not going to talk to them anymore. Nah, just really try to build with them. Like, this ain't going to be the first time I'm going to talk to you, and I'm going to try to put you down on people that help you out. That's like something real, you know, and then you're someone that's pushing the culture forward, you know what I'm saying? So why wouldn't I want to help you and build something with you? Maybe you and I could do an event together. You know, I don't know.
Regardless of hip hop.
So building meaningful relationships, just staying on it, staying aggressive, and just, I don't know, for me, this is what I love, man. This is what I really wanted to do. And you know, I'm in no place to call anybody out, but you know, hip hop is very it could be very pretentious at times, very glitz and glamoury. You know, are you in it for that, or are you really trying to do something within this? You know, do you really feel like you have something do you really feel like you have something to contribute, or are you really just into that lifestyle and the club and the chicks and all that? That's cool too, but you know, why are you really doing this? Yeah.
So what's coming up for Garden State Hip Hop?
What's coming up? I'm starting to put some ideas together for a new logo. I want to redo the website. After the winter, I have some plans for an event. Probably like 2 shows. I don't want to give too many details. I'm probably going to try to do 2 shows. I want to do a mixer. And then in Asbury, we have the Boys and Girls Club, and they have the Hip Hop Institute. So I want kids to know that, yeah, it's cool to be an MC or a producer, but there's other opportunities for you. You could be a manager. You can be a publicist. You can get into radio and engineering, just letting them know that there's more opportunities. You can get into videography. So, yeah, that's another plan as well.
All right, Rodney, I appreciate you coming on the show. So where can everybody find you, and where can they follow the Garden State Hip Hop and everything you're doing?
Yeah, so on Twitter, at GState Hip Hop, at Rodney, GSHH on Instagram, at Garden State Hip Hop on Instagram. Feel free to shoot me an email, rodney@gardenstatehiphop.com. Yeah, I'm around, man. I'm always accessible.
And I appreciate you being on the show, and any of the artists from Jersey, Garden State, you know, saying this is a man that you need to go follow, link up with. He's doing a lot for the state. It's all these platforms going on. You know, they always say, you know, Jersey's having a hard time, but, you know, people are creating a platform. And like you said, getting to know people and building those relationships. So I hope everybody paying attention and watching this video on YouTube, Instagram, wherever you see it, follows Rodney, gets in tune with what he's doing. And once again, I do appreciate you coming through and giving me this time.
Thank you for having me, man. I hope I gave you a good interview.
Nah, it's great, man. I loved hearing your story, man.
Cool.
All right, everybody, catch me again next week, Monday, 7 to 8 p.m. I appreciate you tuning in.